heads up of what is happening in math right now. So we did all the transformations, right? You did rotations, reflections, translations, and we know how to do them. Yes? We did them twice, we did them once, we're good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start proving that triangles are congruent. But we're only going to be able to prove triangles are congruent based on translations, rotations, and reflections. All right? So we're going to combine what we learned and add in something new. Today, though, we're just going to start off super easy. We're going to do congruent triangles, just the parts of congruent triangles. So
why do you do notes outside right now? You just forget about it.
I don't care.
Like, I never got that. Like, just write. I don't think you ever do notes.
Because you're seniors.
Still.
You're seniors.
Dude. Miss Bright, like, when she's sick, it's so scary. Like, she's like a little grenade. Like, if you say something wrong, it can either go really good or it can be boom.
Oh, have you seen the new projector? No. It's beautiful. It's Julio. Hi, Julio. Second period named him, yeah. They wanted to name it Esperanza, and they decided they didn't like that, so they went to Julio. So its name is Julio. You're getting 2 pages right now. Jason, you're gonna annoy me? Don't annoy me. Here, put that on. Oh no, I need one. Just kidding.
Dang, what are you throwing him? If you would have given me that paper cut. To go court.
Alright, let's do this. We have congruent triangles. I didn't say have conversations. Monday you will have new seats. Because some people need to move. Like Jason. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do think there's a fee. Companies really aren't supposed to charge you the extra 35 cents to use it. They're not supposed to. The company's just supposed to pay it. That's the point of having the credit card machine. Okay. Zoom it in. All right, let's add in the little part with the words. So we're going to talk about congruent triangles, but we're talking about the word part. right, it's supposed to say two triangles are congruent if. Instead of is, it should say if. I'm curious why she has corresponding sides and corresponding angles. Why does she have 3 lines? Mm-hmm. Chaperoning out the problem besides the administrators? Me? Usually no. Usually it's teachers. So I know Mrs. Bright, Mr. Bright, Mrs. Brown, and me. Mrs. Brown's not technically chaperone, she's going for something else. Me. Usually Vega goes. He's gone the last couple years. Radcliffe goes. Tejada goes usually.
Wait, what are these?
It's a problem. They need to be recorded.
I need to?
Yeah. All those yellow tests you didn't record. I don't think.
I need to work.
Yeah. Alright. Two triangles are congruent if all corresponding side lengths and all corresponding angle measures are congruent. So two triangles are congruent if all corresponding side lengths and all corresponding angle measures are congruent. You know when someone writes a definition, you're trying to figure out what their word was supposed to say? That's where I'm at right now. Corresponding side lengths and angles. I don't know what she's trying to say. I think it's the same measure. They have to be the exact same measure. Same length, same measure, same identical. I also want to put position. And it'll make sense in a second when I get to the actual example. Congruent statement says triangles. Now pay attention. This is the most important part. It's patty paper. Alright, this part right here, I'm going to highlight. Where's my green highlighter? I'm losing things, guys. I think someone took it. I used it yesterday. Okay, here we go. If I highlight A. So this says triangle ABC is congruent to triangle XYZ. The little symbol right there is the triangle symbol, correct? So I want you to highlight A corresponds with X. Those are the same color. B corresponds with y. And lastly, C corresponds with Z. Oh, I put it away. There we go. All right, does that make sense? Okay, sides. When you write your congruent sides, you're writing segment AB is congruent to segment XY. Make sure you know that this is the word triangle. That's how you say it, hence the word. These right here are segments. So segment AB is congruent to segment XY. And then right here this is angle A is congruent to angle X. Or angle CAB is congruent to angle ZXY. If the A and the X are in the middle, that's the angle I'm talking about, same as this one. Those are my vertices. Or it's my vertex. Remember this part right here is the vertex. And that's where the A is representing, or the X. Do you understand? So when I'm looking at it, this would be like CAB. Just remember that. Your vertex is always in the middle. That's the one I'm referring to. Alright, we're going to cut these ones, but I want to do certain ones first. So I want to do the one that has RST as your triangle. Triangle RST. Alright, first example. Now this one got cut off the letters, so we're going to fill in letters. K, L, we'll call that M. Okay? So R, S, T, L, K, M. You see it? Alright, I think we talked about these little lines, right? What did I say these little circle things represent? Did we talk about them? They do talk about congruent signs, good. But it's the angles that are congruent, right? So if I'm looking at K, which one corresponds with K in this triangle? S. Good, so let's highlight those the same color. So K and S go together, yes? Okay. Now, let's look at another one on this triangle. Which other one do you want to talk about on this triangle? On triangle LKM. L, okay. Notice that has how many congruent signs? 3. So which one corresponds with L? Very good. And then when I look at the last one, I have M that corresponds with R. And I need to make sure that they both have 2 congruent symbols, which they do, so we're okay. Make sense? Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to identify, and we kind of already did, corresponding angles. Now for your corresponding angles, you're going to list them. You get to decide if you're going to go from left to right if I don't give you a congruent statement. Do you understand? If I give you a congruent statement, we have to follow that, and I'll show you that in a second. So let's go from left to right. We're going to start with the smallest angle first, so let's start with angle what? Angle K. Well, not smallest, sorry, I said that wrong. The one with only one little symbol. So angle K is congruent to angle what? S. Very good. They're the same color. We highlighted them. That's good. Now that had one congruent symbol. Which one has 2? M. So we're going to say angle M is congruent to angle R. And lastly, angle what? Good. Is congruent to angle T. Make sense? Alright, now pay attention. We went from K, M, and L. All of those are in order on the same side because those are the same triangle. Do you understand? These ones here, S, R, and T, are from the same triangle, so they're on the same side as well. Make sense? Not too hard. Okay, then we're going to list corresponding sides. Corresponding sides. Now, in order to do corresponding sides, we are going to go in the same order as our angles. Understood? So we started with K, and then we went to M. Do you see it? That's the order we went. So we're still going to go from K to M. So we're going to say segment K, M. And that had two little lines which should match up with S and R, correct? If I follow the same order of the colors, green to yellow, I go green to yellow, those match. So KM is congruent to SR. Gotta go same color first. So we're from green to yellow, so we're gonna go green to yellow. Does that make sense? If you have another highlighter color, you can highlight. I don't have any more colors. I only have 3. So we go from K to M. Now we're gonna go from M to L. So segment ML is congruent to segment what? RT. RT. Needs to be in the right order, so RT. So we went KM, ML. Now we're going to go from LK. So segment LK is congruent to segment what? TS. Very good. You notice right here there's kind of a little bit of a pattern. KM, then you start with M. Do you see how that works? You end it with M, you start with M, you end with L, you start with L. See a little bit of a pattern? And then whatever you started with is what you should end with. Same here. See it? There should be a little bit of a pattern. Now, we have all corresponding angles, we have all corresponding sides. Now we need to write our congruent statement. So you're going to start off with triangle. I usually just follow the pattern of my angles. Make sense? You already wrote your angle congruent statement, so just write them in the same thing. So go triangle K, M, L. Is congruent to triangle what? There you go. Does that make sense? If you follow the order of your angles, you're usually okay. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay, let's do the one that looks like they're stuck together. This one here. The one that was underneath it. Notice I put an X here, that's kind of what got cut off, and so did the Z, so I just filled those in. Ready? How many triangles do you see? There are 2. Yes? This one's a little different. Let's highlight sides first. So let's highlight the sides first. So if I'm going to highlight the one with one congruent symbol, that's side XW, correct? Which one corresponds with that one? Okay. Now what do you want to highlight? Where? WZ. And Y. X. Notice XZ is going to be what? In the middle. Is it the same side for both? Yes, it is. It is the same side for both. Okay? Make sense? Alright. So you want to do sides first or angles first? It doesn't matter. Angles? Okay. So let's label corresponding angles. We can abbreviate corresponding. It gets long. Alright, so what angle do you want to start with? Angle. That's not an angle. That's a segment. Angle W is congruent to angle what? Very good. Angle okay, so this is a little tricky, right? Because they're touching, yeah? So we're going to call this angle WXZ. Which means we're talking about this angle here. Do you understand? So we are talking about the X angle. So WXZ, right? So we're talking about this piece here. Which one on the other side corresponds to this piece here? Y, Z, X. There you go. I circled those because that's the one we're referring to, yes? Okay? So we had W, we had X. Now we have to do this one, right? So how do you want to name this one? W, Z, X. That works. Is congruent. We'll circle that one again. Now pay attention to your coloring. You went W, which was what color? W to Z is green to then yellow, yeah? So when we name this one, we need to go Y. Very good. We good? Okay. Now let's do what? Corresponding sides. We have to start with this triangle first. Let's call this triangle 1, triangle 2, because we started with that when we labeled our angles. Yes? Okay. So now let's pick here which side we're going to start with. I'd probably start with the one with one little symbol, which is which one? W to X. Or X to W. Which way do you want to go? WX. Okay. So notice I went from here to here. Right? You see where I went? Look at the angle congruence. I went from one little mark to 2. So when I'm looking over here, which one am I going to label first? YZ. Good. Got it? So we went from here to here. Now we're going to go from here to Z. So XZ is congruent to, there we go. Does that make sense? So we went from here to here, and then here to here. Went from here to here, then here to here. Okay? So now we're here at Z. Where are we going to go from Z to? Very good. And we went from here to here, so now we're going to go. Very good. Go ahead and write your congruent triangle statement. Your congruent triangle statement. Follow the order of what? Very good. We good? Who has it? Triangle what? WXZ? Who started off with triangle WXZ? Very good. Where'd you get it from? Corresponding angles. Right there? Or look at it. WXZ. It's right there too. Yeah? Okay. It is congruent to triangle. Very good. Questions? We're good? Okay. Let's take another one. Now, on these ones, we're going to do something different. I am now going to give you congruent statements. Oops. Which means you're going to have to follow the pattern I give you. Let's do the one that's two separate triangles. So let's do this one. All right, so let's do this one. Now, what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to tell you that triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle MNL. Do you understand? So now I have given you the triangle statement. I gave you the congruent statement. Do you see it? Do you remember in the very beginning when I had the congruent statement, I highlighted the first point, like the first ones like that? I would do the same thing. Now you're going to go ahead and you're going to list corresponding angles and corresponding sides based on this. Okay? So you need to follow this, which means I would highlight. So I'll start you off on highlighting. If I highlight X green, what else is green? Very good. Are you good? Okay. Go ahead and highlight, and then write your corresponding sides and your corresponding angles. check with someone next to you, even if you just have the angle part. Maybe you just have the angle, check with someone next to you, see if you have the angles right. That way you can see if you're on the right path. Alright, let's start off. I highlighted angle X to correspond with M, correct? If I highlight Y, that corresponds with which one? N is correct. And then Z and L would go together. I don't know if it'll show it. Yeah, it does. A little bit. Okay, so let's go over here. So I did L and Z to be pink. I said N and Y were yellow. And then I said that X and, why is my highlighter dying? M were that color, yeah? Did you do that? Because if you did that, guess what? That helps you out. Yes? Okay. Let's start off with corresponding angles. Who wants to give me the first angle? Angle X is correct. Why would you pick angle X? Because I told you. See right here? I said X goes first, so guess what? X goes first. What does it correspond with? M. Good. What goes next? Y. Which corresponds with? Good. Then? Very good. Which corresponds with? Good. Easy? Okay. Corresponding what? Sides. Alright, let's do sides. Where do you start? XY is correct. So segment XY is going to correspond with segment MN. Good. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and put little marks. We'll fill in the rest of the marks in a second, but that's going to help me know which ones I've done. Alright, so we did XY, and we did MN. We're going to go from YZ to, very good. Put 2 little marks on that one, correct? And lastly, ZX, lovely, 2, very good. How many marks there? Very good. Let's go fill in the angles. Angle X gets 1, which one else gets 1? M. Angle Y gets 2, angle N gets 2, and lastly, Z gets 3, and so does L. We got it right. Good. Does that make sense? All right. Let's do the last one. This is a little bit tricky. Not a whole lot, but it is. Alright, there's a really important piece in this one while you're gluing it in. And the really important piece is that there's something called a vertical angle. There's a spot called a vertical angle, and you can think of it kind of like your bow tie. Do you understand? And what that vertical angle says is that this piece here is exactly the same on this side here. Okay? Does that make sense? So every time you see what we call this bow tie, think of the bow tie, you now know that this angle is always the same as this angle. Do you get that? Okay? Make sense? Alright, so then when we look at it, A is going to correspond with which other angle? or D? It's E. If you look at your picture, see how this is more looking like a right angle? Kind of like this one? You gotta be very careful. And then B will correspond with D. Does that make sense? Okay, let's mark our sides. If I mark AC, what side corresponds with AC? CE, very good. Got it? I went from 1 to 2 on the marks. I went from 1 to 2 on the angle marks. Okay, so follow your angle marks. Now, what am I going to mark next? A, B, ED, and then BC with DC. Got it? Does that make sense? Follow your angle marks. We went from 1 angle to 2 on the angle congruency. Do you see it? So we go from 1 to 2. We go from 2 to 3. We go from 2 to 3. We go from 3 to 1, 3 to 1. Make sense? Go ahead and write your corresponding angles and your corresponding sides. And you're going to write your congruent statement. Check with someone next to you if you have the same congruent statements. Why are you packed up, Chica? Write your congruent statements. You need to have your triangle congruent statement also. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right, you should have wrote 4 sides. Or angles, sorry. Angles first? Angles first. What angle goes with what? We already labeled them. Angle C corresponds with angle C. Angle A corresponds with angle. Good. Angle B corresponds with angle D. Make sense? Side. What? C. C what? CA corresponds with CE. Side. I heard it. AB is congruent to ED. Congruent segment BC is congruent to segment DC. Triangles. Triangle CAB is congruent to triangle. Very good. Jabber, sir, why are you packed up already? Let me see your notes. Did you write all this right now? Don't lie. Don't lie. You what? You what? Why not? Goodbye. You have your homework. It is due on Monday. I will see you then. Have a good weekend. What? You want to borrow crayons? For what? for your task. It's now late, you know that, right? Over there.